Hey guys, this is the short version of the rules for the interactive game. You're going to look at your card deck. You're going to ignore the first one because it just shows you the rules. And if you need help with the rules, you can always scan back to where you are now. What you're going to do is you're going to divvy up the deck. You can shuffle it, but it doesn't really matter. And you're going to pass out a number of cards. You have to pick. 5 is what I suggest, but you can do as little as 3. Pass out to each player 3 cards. And you're going to leave the colored side up. The reason is, all this says is death. It's kind of enticing. You don't know what it's going to reveal. You keep these up, you don't look at the back, right? Because part of the reason is I designed this deck to be vulnerable. So if you were to be looking at the back, you'd be preparing, what are you going to do when it's my turn? It's all about self-expression. And so, true self-expression is spontaneous, is authentic. So let's say you have 5 cards, which is in the rules, and you take turns. Each person picks up the card, they show everyone the art, and they flip it over, and they read the back, right? You want to read the back all the way through first, so that everyone knows what's up. Even if it asks you to do things, don't do the things until you've read the card through. If you need to read it again, that's fine. So I'm just going to read it real quick and do a short performance. Let's meditate on death. Do you have much time? How can you be sure? Death is coming for us all. What important thing have you been putting off? So if it was my turn, I would read that out, and someone would be the timekeeper. They would pick maybe a minute. And I would say, God, I feel like I've been putting off applying to school. Like I really wanted to go back to school and get my master's in therapy. I've been putting that off. You know, if I died tomorrow, I probably would regret not doing that. So that's a short version. Obviously, we want people to go deeper, maybe, you know, exploring something for that full minute, just one subject. But what you want to do is, before anyone goes, decide on a metric. And what I mean by that is, what is the game going to be, what is the self-expression going to be about? How are you going to win, sort of, with how expressed you are, right? How authentic, how real you are, right? It could be humor, it could be vulnerability, it could be honesty, it could be just self-expression. So the wilder your expression is, the better. You know, there's a performance aspect, of course, but it's also about just get real, you know, be real and be raw. And so maybe it's rawness, like maybe you're like really trust each other, 3 friends really close, and maybe it's just raw. The cards are actually designed for vulnerability. So that's the main kind of theme of the deck. So before starting, you pick that, and that's what you judge how well people do. So there are 3 basic categories, super simple: thrive, survive, or dive. Thrive means you did a good job. We were either laughing or maybe crying, or at least feeling what you were doing. Survive is like, meh, we'll allow it. It's like you did, we were curious for more, but you didn't quite get there. And dive is not necessarily negative, but you could have done more. Like, or maybe, man, I was really wanting to hear the end of your story, but you just stopped all of a sudden. So dive would be like, we need you to dive for more. So if you get a thrive, you get to move your card to the thrive pile. If you get a survive, you keep the card, turn it sideways, or keep it with this side up, so that we know you've started on it. You started a conversation that needs to be finished, and you can come back to the card. Dive is, we're curious for more, and it depends on how you want to play. You can keep the card, put it back in your lineup, and do it again, or if you want to be hardcore, you move it out of the deck. Like it's something that obviously some subject you didn't really want to get into and couldn't get into, so you forfeit that card, right? So the way that the game flows is each person takes 1 turn no matter what, even if you thrive, right? You go around, and it's the first person to get 5 cards. If there aren't 5 cards, it's the first person to get all of their cards that are in front of them, and then they have to be the most, obviously the most cards. So if you complete 3, but someone else on their next turn completes 4, obviously they would win. And you don't have to play for win. It's about exploring the cards together. So enjoy, have fun.